7 that he had a room of mirrors, and if you look into a mirror, you can look into yourself, and you can channel the spirits of those that were before you. He's really saying that those that may have molested you or those that may have taken from you, you can bring them back and ask them to be your guide and tell you why they did what they did to you. So Michael Jackson created a mirror, a room of mirrors that he could go in and channel spirits. And Michael Jackson chose a specific spirit. He says this. He says, I have my own secret room with a moving wall and mirrors. Okay. Same room that Aleister Crowley had. He says, this is where I talk to Liberace. I hear his voice in there. I feel his presence so very close to me. He's like my guardian angel. He even gave me permission to record his title, I'll Be Seeing You. That's in the Psychic News in 1987. Liberace? Homosexual. Flamboyant homosexual. You channel the spirit of the most flamboyant homosexual of our time? And the third way is the way I believe Michael Jackson died. He said that his best songs came in dreams. Michael Jackson would channel Morpheus, the god of dreams, who studied under Serapis Bey. Serapis Bey is the image that Catholics use as the image of Christ, but it's not. He has the Ra, the sun god, behind his head. He looks just like Christ, but it's not. Just like Semiramis and Nimrod, that whole thing I told you about earlier. But he was an Egyptian incarnated God. So he would channel those spirits. He also channeled the spirits of Hypnos and Thanatos. Hypnos is the god of sleep. Thanatos is the god of death. And they're brothers along with Morpheus. Now what becomes very dangerous about what Michael was doing, if you read, Michael Jackson would sleep sometimes 3 and 4 days at a time because he was trying to get hit songs. He even said one time that he couldn't go to sleep. He said a spirit told him that if he did not get to sleep to get this song, the spirit is going to give it to Prince. This is where the rivalry between him and Prince birthed in the 80s, if y'all remember that. But Michael needed to sleep. So they began to sedate him heavily so he could sleep the amount of time he needed to sleep to get hits. But a 50-year-old body trying to do a world tour, hungry for the next hit song, the right dosage. I know some people are saying, well, you haven't really convinced me. I'm about to. Michael Jackson had 2 albums that told everything that he was doing. The first album he had that I'm going to show you is his history album. He built a statue of himself like Nebuchadnezzar because that Nephilim spirit in him wanted to be worshipped. But if you zoom into his arm, there's a number on his arm. And that number is 777. Aleister Crowley's book, 777. Quabalistic writings. Channel Nephilim spirits for fame. Get your songs from the devil. There he is. The next album, he went a step further, and I'm about to try to bring this to a close. Y'all still with me? Dangerous. This album tells it all. Because if you look real close, this album is full of voodoo and witchcraft. You got the third eye right here over this door. You see it? You got the world, and it's upside down here. You got a lake, and then you've got skull and bones in this lake, and then you've got his eyes. But let's focus on this part because there's a deep, dark message in here. First thing you notice is Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley believed in satanic ritual abuse, and he believed in getting these Nephilim spirits from young, innocent children. Michael Jackson showed it symbolically on here. And I'm not trying to accuse the man of what he did, but his album is telling me exactly what he did. Here is his hand, and it's withered and white and cold with bandages on it. Here is a naked boy, little boy, holding the skull of a dragon. I don't think you need rocket science to decode that message. Aleister Crowley said it like this: for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. And we as a church cried and wept. Me and my wife was in Chicago when Michael Jackson died and turned on the TV. And Sweet Holy Spirit Church in Chicago came on TV and said, we're going to have a memorial service for Michael Jackson. The whole church wore one glove. The choir wore one glove. And they began to have altar call doing Man in the Mirror in the church, worshiping Michael Jackson in God's house, a channeler of Nephilim.